Hey, what's up there, Tour 904? It's another beautiful Saturday here in Jacksonville Beach, and I have a beautiful assistant helping me today. Anyways, so today we are putting in the floor, and I spent, Gracie and I both spent yesterday pre-cutting all the insulation and the plywood, so we're not filming that because, you know, it's boring and you've seen it before. But we did want to go over how we're insulating the floor and why. So one thing is I'm 6'3", so when I'm standing in this van, I have very little clearance, you know, in the top. So I know the traditional way that most people do the installation on the floor is not the way that I'm doing it, and it's mainly every ½ inch or ¼ inch or inch that I can save in flooring gives me more headroom. So that's the reason why I chose this. So I've got two products that I'm using to insulate the floor, Vanna. One is, this is actually used for exterior siding on the wall. So when they're building, what? On a house, yeah. So when they're building a house and if you got your plywood and you drive by and you see, you know, that's wrapped in something, this is what it's wrapped in. And this is only a ¼ inch thick, which gives an R value of 1.25. Then on top of that, so this is laying down first, and it's a water barrier as well. Then we've gone with the Thinsulate, the 3M product. So we've actually used this 3M adhesive spray on top of the green board, and then laid the Thinsulate on top. The Thinsulate is about a 5 R value, so we're at like 6.25, and then the actual plywood that we're using is 3/4 inch premium grade plywood, so there's no air pockets in it. The higher grade you go, the more dense it is, which is more like a marine grade. It has a 1 R value, so total we should have just slightly over an R value of 7 on the floor. So anyways, I don't know if you can look here, we'll look in the back here. We've got the Thinsulate and the green board already laid down. We've got another piece already cut with the Thinsulate glued for the front part here. We're going to lay that down, and then we're going to come back in with the plywood. The plywood's already cut, and then to attach the plywood to the floor, I'm sure you've seen this if you've watched enough videos of van builds. This is a rivet nut tool, and it uses these little rivet nuts in, and basically it rivets it to the ground and gives you a nut that you can screw in. So we've pre-drilled the plywood in several spots, so we can use machine grade stainless steel screws to go in. Everywhere where we drilled a hole, we used Rust-Oleum around the hole so we didn't get any rust. And then there's also some anchor points that we're going to use as well that have
rings.
Yeah, the D-rings that were already in here. We're going to use the existing mounts for that with screws as well. So that's it. We'll put it on a time lapse, and you can watch us in here sweating, putting this floor down. But, stay tuned. Okay guys, so we finally got the subfloor in. It's on time lapse, so you didn't really notice this, but we ended up buying screws that were about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch too short. So I had to make another trip back to Lowe's. Imagine that. But anyways, got it down. Everything seems to be nice and secure. Nothing's moving around, nothing's bowed, nothing's warped. And we're getting ready to put in the flooring. And we picked this flooring because why, Grace? Why did we pick this flooring?
You know why? Mackenzie came in and gave you a consultation, and
Yes.
we decided what color we were going to go on with. So this is a nice light neutral gray, but it's neutral enough not to be like, hey, the whole paint's gray, which I didn't like.
Right.
Because we're going to go with gray lower cabinets
Oh, I get that. Yeah.
and have like a modern
It's weird
feel.
too because it's gray, but yet I'm colorblind and it looks brown to me.
Well, there's brown in it.
Oh, okay.
There's
Well,
brown
that
and gray.
makes, well, that makes sense.
It's kind of like driftwood color.
Driftwood, perfect. I got it. So, anyways, this is LTP luxury vinyl planks.
And we got the big ones, so they're like 6
Yeah, I think they're 6 feet long. So,
and like 9 inches. And then they're the click and lock, which we did in our old house. So I've done 4 bedrooms and 2 an office and a living room, a dining room in this.
Right.
So it should be pretty easy to put back together. Put together.
Yeah.
Same concept.
the other nice thing about them is the backside of them are rubber, so they grip, and they also provide a little bit of cushioning and sound deadening.
And a little bit of leveling.
Yeah, that's true. A little bit of leather.
We had a couple screws that were stuck up just a hair. And
Yeah.
we tested it out.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, we'll do a time lapse.
Woo!
Wow, that was loud. We'll do a time lapse on this, so you don't have to sit here and watch us just, argue about who's right and who's wrong.
I'm always right.
Yeah, that's why we had to make another trip to Lowe's.
No, you didn't know. You're a liar. You didn't put the nuts in there. That's why they weren't screwing in.
Yeah, they still weren't long enough. That's
Yes,
what-
they were.
All right, cut it. We're going to time lapse.
Okay, I hope you can hear us because we were getting a very typical Florida afternoon thunder shower, so we had to stop.
Yeah.
We were almost done. We had 2 more cuts to finish the floor. Before we started the floor, I know you might have watched it in time lapse, but before we started the floor, I told him we had 1 hour and 15 minutes to get this done. And he's like, I don't know if we can do it. Because I got a ladies' night tonight, going to a wine tasting. So we did it in 1 hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So
We would have hit the 1 hour and 15 minutes on it
with the
for
last
sure.
2. But I'm really loving how this looks.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say, we did it worked out. I don't know that we actually planned it this way. We picked these 6 foot long planks because we felt like it would be less cuts. Not thinking the bed of the truck is 12 feet. So in some places we just had to stick 2 together and we were done.
Which was awesome.
And so we had to make very short a number of cuts to get this thing in here, and it went in, obviously, you'll see the time lapse, it went in pretty fast. Like we said, it was an hour, almost probably would have been an hour and 15 when we were done with it.
So this is a floating floor, and we're gonna secure it in some spots where you're not gonna be able to see, and then we're gonna have some decorative lips. Thresholds on both sides, which will hold it in place as well, and along the front.
Yeah.
But it is, we didn't show you the box, but the box says waterproof, kid-proof, and dog-proof.
That's true.
So I'm really excited about
Yeah,
to see how this holds up.
That was another reason we picked it, was because it is waterproof, not water resistant, but waterproof. It shows it in bathrooms, with kids splashing out of the tub on it and everything else. So you have dogs, if you are into water sports, whatever, muddy, whatever, getting into your van, this stuff will clean off really easy, and you don't have to worry about it seeping down and warping the floor. So
Now I will have to say, we did talk about us doing this in our house. This is was a little bit harder because it's not as rigid. So getting them in and locked took a little figuring out because they kind of wobble. But with the two of us together, it got in pretty well.
Yep, I agree. So that's it.
Right.
Subfloor in today.
Almost all floor.
Vinyl planking floor in 98%.
Yes.
Right.
Tomorrow, what are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. We're doing something.
We're gonna go buy cabinets. At least the fronts,
Yeah, I
the
think so.
doors.
Yeah.